Evening, everyone. I think you're muted, Raymond.
I was still muted. Damn it, every time. Uh, Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Death Scenes and Cemeteries.
Evening, everybody. As we share out, please share us out. Thank you.
Please and thank you. We
Please
greatly
and thank you
appreciate it.
very much.
Tonight we decided to do something a little bit different in honor of the holiday.
Mm-hmm.
So be prepared for some screwed up crap that involves the holiday of Thanksgiving. Because why not?
Why not? Exactly. Why not?
If,
Absolutely.
if it's dark and twisted, we like it.
Why is my volume on my phone on? That's scary.
That is scary.
Anyway. Oh, yeah. So I guess be prepared for a, I don't know, deprogramming of what, I guess, and an enlightenment of,
An enlightenment.
yeah.
We
Of,
won't really call it deprogramming, just an enlightenment as
yeah.
to what the actual holiday is
Mm-hmm.
and was.
Yep. So,
Because the story we were told as kids growing up in school that we were told was history is actually no more than a myth.
mm,
Which makes you question a lot more about, what we were taught in school. But,
mhm.
it's neither here nor there, and it's a different show for another day. Um,
I mean, it's true. Makes you question other holidays as well.
I mean, I question other holidays anyway, mainly because of when they fall and what they represent as far as other religions
Hmm.
prior to the religions that claim them. But yeah, Thanksgiving. It was not a bunch of pilgrims and their Sunday best sitting
Yeah.
around with indigenous people from a local tribe sitting at tables and eating food together. That is not how that happened at all.
No, absolutely. I have to agree.
And in fact, the biggest part of what they actually do know, the natives only appeared because they heard the Puritans shouting and firing their rifles into the air. And they
Hmm.
thought they were under attack, so they went to check to see what was going on.
Yep.
And they discovered that they were actually just celebrating, that it wasn't an actual attack on them. And they spent the next 3 to 4 days eating food that was scattered on any flat surface that they had, and they didn't sit around and eat with silverware and stuff. Most of them ate with their hands.
They didn't have pumpkin pie. They didn't have apple pie. They didn't have turkey, mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, green bean casserole. None of that good. I mean, they had good stuff, but nothing that the good old what we think is comfort food for Thanksgiving.
A lot of it was venison. It was local fowl, which turkey could not be found in that area during that time of year.
Yep.
Um, because honestly, it got too cold for the turkeys. It really did. Um, then they had like whatever nuts and berries and this and that they could
Mhm.
find in the area. You know, anything
Exactly.
that grew wild that was readily available that they had already collected.
Lobster, mussels, eel. They they actually, I guess, eel pie. Maybe it was a porridge, probably, but I'm like, ooh. But I mean, cod, bass, because this is we're talking Massachusetts area, so
I wonder if
well,
they had clam chowder.
I mean, it's,
I'm joking.
I mean, hey, I preferably don't like clam chowder, but hey, and if and I kind of look at what would be considered a menu. If you were a vegetarian, you were screwed because it was only carrots and peas, you know, and squash. that too. But but yeah, I mean, they had pumpkin. I mean, they probably had like a pumpkin kind of, I guess, as a decoration. It's not like they had pumpkin pie because you couldn't have, didn't have the ability to make flour. They didn't have the ability to make sugar, which you need those components to make things. Where today you can just go to the store and get an empty shell for some pumpkin puree and put it in and pop it in the oven.
Or you can just take them by in a frozen section and just pop it in the oven too.
Yeah, that too. I see. I don't like pumpkin pie, so
Uh,
I could live
it
without
depends on the mood.
it.
So
But um, so if we want to get into this. So the first Thanksgiving, a lot of folks understand it happened in 1621, and the myth of it is that we've kind of almost in a way said that it happened in 1621, and it's just been an ongoing thing since then. It it wasn't.
it wasn't.
It wasn't. Um,
And actually, the idea of Thanksgiving Day happened long before that as well.
mhm. I mean, in many other different cultures and lands, and
Yeah.
they were all doing the same thing, celebrating what? The autumn harvest.
Yep.
So, so, um, and also too, there is no written evidence or any evidence that any historian could find of the Wampanoag people that they were ever even invited. Period. Um, there was an account. They did find an account of the time that said 90 members of the Wampanoag tribe, which we talked, were present, and makes no mention to invitations. So, you know, the pilgrims coming and saying, "Hey, come share and break bread with us," didn't really happen. Didn't happen that way.
It's more like, oh, sorry, we were celebrating. Hey, would you like some food? That was
Exactly.
about it. Since you're
Yep.
here, would you like to eat with us? Just
Hmm.
to prove that we're not trying to fight with you.
Exactly.
Just for a generation later to go, psych, have some blankets.
Have some blankets, and not only
Small part.
that, um, decide to just, I don't know, go a little crazy and conquer land and take it.
Yeah.
And actually, there I did find something that was interesting. I said in their first encounter with the Pilgrims with the Wampanoag people, the Pilgrims actually stole the tribe's winter provisions, which it wasn't until later that the Oskimwenquin formed an alliance between the two groups. So I think that was the head chief. I'm assuming. Um, but even the alliance was really only existed because the Wampanoag people were ravaged by disease brought by the European colonizers
But
in
on
years
done.
prior. So the first harvest obviously was followed by deadly conflicts between the Pilgrims and the Native Americans, including and definitely not limited to the Wampanoags. So that was, I mean, because you're talking about that area. So yeah, and the following Thanksgiving was th- there the Pilgrims' way of Thanksgiving was actually often it was actually used as often as marked as celebrating a victory over, I guess, how do we want to say this to be nice, over defeat of tribes. Thanksgiving, so they were giving thanks. Um, Other thing that not only that, but it was also really Thanksgiving. It was observed, but they actually fasted. They weren't, you're sitting here thinks like how we have Thanksgiving today. We're like we're thankful to be with our loved ones and our friends, family, near, far, whatever. And what are we doing? We're eating turkey, ham, mashed potatoes, they were actually fasting in some ways too. That's how they looked at Thanksgiving, as a celebration and rejoicing. So it's, I mean, but that's with a, that's some people. There is a big debate with that still going on to this day because, like I said, is there any really true documentation that hasn't been big, humongous pieces of it being erased on purpose?
or
Unfortunately.
just you know, in general, just missing.
Yep. So, um, let's see what else.
Which the first beginning of the holiday that we know and stuff,
Mhm.
it was made a national holiday during the Civil War by Abraham Lincoln.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sure enough, it was. Because he established the holiday a way to improve relations between the northern and southern states. Because it's at this time, 1863, we're involved what in our own Civil War. Um, so it was that was going on. Um, but I didn't even know this. A year prior, there was like a mass like a Dakota tribe because they were starving. They were on the brink of death, and I guess from what I could find is that they were trying to find food, and Lincoln did something, and I think it was to appease, like, hey, sorry, this happened. We had to do this because they were doing things that weren't legal. So back then they did other things, and as a he tried to make how did I love it, they said here he felt that Thanksgiving offered an opportunity to bridge the hard feelings that were between the federal government and the indigenous people. I mean, I guess.
I would say they failed horribly, but
Yes, I would too. I would
and
too.
that's based on accounts by even modern leaders of tribes.
I mean, because technically they call it actually the day of mourning,
They sure
opposed
do.
opposed to Thanksgiving, that we would, the holiday that it's on the calendar marked.
However, one chief did say something that I found very,
Mhm.
very interesting, and I actually agree with. Is instead of trying to focus on what was considered the past events that led up to Thanksgiving, let's just focus on the modern traditions of family and friends getting together and sharing a meal together and sharing memories
Exactly.
and being thankful for what we have now instead of thinking of that first Thanksgiving. So,
Yep. And then all the other things that followed.
yeah.
So, I mean, I totally agree with that. I saw that as a comment on one of the many newspaper articles that I was reading. Well, it's nice because it's true. Because sometimes you get caught up in what you've been taught and what you've been known for so long, that this is what you've been told because of history is true, and then when you start seeing the other side of it, basically everything that you, I mean, your foundation does get rocked a little bit. It does. So,
And that's kind of why we were like, the
mm,
actual story is a lot scarier than, the
yep,
myth.
it is. If and it's with years of research and people writing books and looking and trying to find answers and trying to find the reasons why, and then also too talking and getting, obviously family lore that's passed down, I'm sure tribes talking about things of the past that happened to is always good to have. So, But I mean, it's not everything now. Not everything about. I mean, there's the premise that the first Thanksgiving. Not everything is horribly bad about Thanksgiving. There were some fun things that happened later on.
instead of just the dark and gloomy.
Yes, because it's you always have to have some bright somewhere. You have to have that little bit of light somewhere in that dark to. What are we talking
We
about?
were talking about Thanksgiving, actually.
Mm-hmm. Um, in the turn of the 20th century in America, so they, if you were celebrating Thanksgiving at that point in time, and you looked at things, it looked a lot like Halloween. It really did. People, young and old, would get dressed up in staged costumes and walk around the streets. Some of the towns were like in Los Angeles, Chicago, Missouri, Washington State, New York. Um, and they would run. And I actually found some pictures. So after this, I will go put up the news article where I got this from. Um, they're they're in masks. They're in masks, running around, having a ball. Um, they would run around with elaborate masks and cloth veils. Um, and there were Thanksgiving mask balls. You
That
know,
actually sounds fun.
which I it, after you're done eating and you're just sitting there and you're like, hey, looking at grandma going, okay, we need to really get out of this house because we've got like 30 people in here. We need to breathe and stretch our legs. So like having something to do as a family and go, it does sound fun. Um, so it was actually in the was the busiest. Thanksgiving was the busiest. You would think this is like amazing. Thanksgiving is the busiest time of the year for the manufacturers and dealers in mask and false face coverings. You'd think Halloween would have been, but it wasn't. There'd be fantastical costume parades and old customs of making and dressing up for amusement on Thanksgiving Day and keep from year to year in many parts of the country. So the quantity of false faces sold at that season was enormous, and not you know what I mean, and not the Halloween that we know. So it's kind of like how it's amazing to see how it morphed into another holiday, or well, I guess not holiday, but yeah, another time for being with the ghouls and the goblins.
Which also makes you wonder what the first Macy's Day Parade looks like.
Um,
Thanksgiving Day Parade looks like.
I did find something
That's just
interesting on that. And so um, the Macy Days Parade, they would actually let the balloons go at the end of the parade, right?
Whee!
Which I was like, what? Um, so right up to 1932, the famous balloons in the Macy's Day Parade were just let go and allowed to drift off. And we all know that the stores would sponsor the balloons, so they would offer $50 reward if you could find and return one of their balloons, which was hard because most of them exploded or they burst in the air because of the skyline, because of the high altitude in that time period. Like I thought that was kind of cool, opposed to like when you're watching them, the Macy's Day Parade now, and there was that one year that it was really windy, really windy, and poor Barney, poor Barney, and just like eviscerated poor Barney. So,
I love you, you love.
oh yeah, yeah, Barney loved us
I
lots,
apologize
lots.
for it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and Keith said I didn't know that. I didn't know that either. And then not only that, um, the actual first Macy's Days Parade had no balloons, but they had actual animals from the Central Park Zoo, because the Central Park used to have a zoo in there. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know when it closed down, or maybe it's still there. I don't know. But they had animals. So you had like, zebras and monkeys and all kind of these animals, elephants.
Elephants. Mommy, I want to ride the lion.
Yeah, no, well, no, and they're just walking the street. Like, could you think about that now? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Just having some random wild like oh like some tiger walking the street. Hey, yeah, come on, kids, come pet the tiger, come pet the lion.
I'd
Chomp
be like,
chomp.
did somebody open Jumanji again? What? What?
Exactly. Um.
Now Paris is going to pop out somewhere?
Mm-hmm. But to go back to what they would call that day with the kids that would dress up, they actually called it Ragamuffin Day in New York. Because I mean, they did, and then it also makes you think the reason why they stopped that. I don't know. I kind of get the. It would be an opportune time if somebody, because everybody looks like one of the downtrodden, the homeless people at the time. I mean, if you wanted to kidnap a child, it would, and for money, it would be a good time because everybody's dressed up looking the same. So maybe that's one of the reasons why. I don't know. They never really said why they stopped. It just became
Kind of
old.
drifted into the wind
Mm-hmm.
with one of the balloons.
Yep, with one of the balloons. Poor Barney.
And then there's that one poor dude that can't get his hand loose in time and just floats away with it. Um,
Oh, I could see that. But speaking of also too Thanksgiving, so there used to be Thanksgiving Day cards. I mean, I'm sure there still is now, but around the 1800s into the early 1900s, people would send out Thanksgiving cards the way that they would send out Christmas cards. So could you imagine? You've got your Thanksgiving Day list, because you know how people are with got to make sure this person, everybody on my list gets a card. Could you imagine that some poor woman did that or family did that twice? That's a lot of cards and signing. Um,
and it makes you wonder if it's the same list.
exactly. Does it change? Like, hey, like you're not like I'm going to give you a Thanksgiving card, but I'm not giving you Christmas. Or it's hey, like we're going to flip flop just because. I mean, that's a lot of that's just a lot. Oh, somebody's watching from the bowling alley.
What's up, big bald and sexy?
Oh, that big ball. That's the beard is coming. So it's there. It started. It's to make its. He's almost caught up to you. Almost.
Yeah, it won't take long.
No, it
He'll
won't.
surpass me.
So, but
Miss you, dude. Miss you.
yeah, I don't. I'm joking. I love you.
Lies.
Lies. Absolute lies. And Susan said, "Wow, does anyone still send out Christmas cards?"
Yes. Yes,
I
they
mean,
do.
I try to, but I don't try to be such because I've seen people, being at the post office, like coming in with those boxes of just like, here's 150, and then have to get the whatever the Christmas stamp is on top of it.
Yeah.
You know,
Um, I know there's a lot of older people that still do the Christmas cards.
Mhm.
It's not so much of, something that happens for younger generations, but some of the older generations still carry on that tradition.
Yeah.
So, it,
It's almost becoming a lost art, like someone writing a letter.
yeah.
You know, that was the one thing I do miss about my grandfather. I mean, he would write a letter. I mean, even though he could call me, it's just that the fact that he loved to write letters because of that generation that he was.
I mean, I used to love write letters too, and then, email and messenger was created and I became lazy. So, I'm not
Yeah,
going to lie about it.
yeah, yeah. That is true. But also, if we want to talk about Thanksgiving, everybody knows. Earl Gunthry's Thanks Alice's Restaurant. I preferably, I don't understand the reasoning behind that song. I don't get it. I don't know. Not my cup of tea. Sorry for anybody that, you know, loves that song. But the song that who was written about Alice Brock, she did pass away on Friday. A little tidbit of
Oh,
a
Friday.
so. But Alice's Restaurant. Um, but if we want to get into some other fun things, I googled how many how many states have towns named. What do we have on Thanksgiving?
Turkey.
Turkey. So we've got Turkey, Texas, Turkey, Texas, Turkey, Arizona, Turkey, Louisiana, and Turkey, North Carolina.
I'm dead, I promise.
So, um, so I was like, okay, I was like, hey, let's see, why not? I did that. Um, Also, too, I did not know this. Jingle Bells was not meant to be a Christmas song. It was actually meant to be sung on Thanksgiving because it was written in 1857 and it was supposed to be a Thanksgiving song. So I mean, I guess. But it was later changed because it was reissued in 1859, 2 years later, and then it was changed to actually being a Christmas song. But that was a Thanksgiving song. I didn't know that. I was impressed with that one. So,
However, it does make more sense as a Christmas song. So,
mhm, I get it. I absolutely get it. And then I was looking. I was, because it was just how I am. Some big movies that were Thanksgiving related, I guess, or had, I guess, scenes of them having Thanksgiving. Obviously, the biggest one, and everybody's going to be probably shocked that I still say this is like one of my favorite movies, The Big Chill. It's friends coming for Thanksgiving, mourning the loss of their college friend. Um, Rocky, because he's eating Thanksgiving with his then future wife. Adam's Family Values, which I said, when I saw that, I said, you know what? It's been a hot minute. I haven't watched that. I have to. I think that's going to be like a thing this week. I'm going to go and watch those two because it's been a while since I've watched the Adams Family and the Adams Family Values for just some fun stuff.
Charlie Brown Thanksgiving.
Well, that too. I mean, there's that too. Is that even, now that I think about it, is that even being played this year?
Only on Apple
Only
TV.
on Apple? Okay.
Yeah. But it's hard to say if they'll do what they did with It's a Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, because
Mm-hmm.
there for a week they actually made it available for anyone to watch that did not have a subscription to Apple TV.
It'll
So
be interesting because that's been I mean, other than of like in my house, I have them on DVD and we would just play them. Um,
I have them somewhere? Question mark? Maybe. I think. I don't know. Anyway,
so I mean that's because for a while they weren't showing that for reasons too. Um, right up there with other holiday shorts that we watched as kids. Of course, another favorite is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
planes, trains, and
That's
automobiles.
Steve Martin and John Candy. That's
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of John Candy movies lately. That
yeah,
I haven't watched that one yet.
yeah. So
It's actually been Great Outdoors, Uncle Buck, and
Stripe.
Spaceballs.
Oh, Spaceball. Oh, God. Spaceballs. Ralph. Ralph.
And we're gonna come to the desert.
Comb the desert, literally combing the desert.
Find
Um,
anything yet?
we ain't found, and then we'll just leave it at that. So, um, yeah. So I like Thanksgiving. I can't say it's my favorite per se of like all time, but I mean I do enjoy and I'm grateful and I have for my blessings that I have, my family, my friends. So, but yeah. I mean there are other things too that I did find. Um, there are a lot of urban legends based around Thanksgiving, um, but I can't really flush anything out for any of them. Like where did that urban legend start from um, on things? But which I mean, you can go to YouTube and you could type in urban legends and Thanksgiving, and you'll find them. Um, there's the which I thought was weird because it way that they talked about it made me really go try to Google it and find it, and there isn't any. So I was like, okay, but I could understand perfectly the reason why somebody would make up this urban legend. The Macy Day Parade serial killer, perfect opportunity. All those people, and just be gone. Um, there was that, but I did find some strange things. Natalie Wood, she was a famous actress. For those that don't know, um, she, she was she drowned on Thanksgiving. Um, DB Cooper actually disappeared Thanksgiving Eve. Um, there was there's a big talking about being in Massachusetts and being up here on the East Coast. 2 days after Thanksgiving, there was the Coconut Grove fire, which was at the time, which well, it probably is still the deadliest considering how many people, 492 people, um, were in that. So that's still, I mean, I would assume that is still the deadliest club nightclub fire. Um, and then I did not even know this. There is there is the oldest Thanksgiving unsolved murder from 1919. John H. Woodruff was a would be considered today, which be would be a forest ranger. Um, so he left his house. He went on patrol to patrol the area because he lived in this grove area, and he never came home. Absolutely never came home. His body was found 2 years later in a shallow grave. Um,
It was that damn Sasquatch.
it probably was that Sasquatch. That's why, hey, you may want to leave a plate for Sasquatch. I'm just saying. I don't know. I don't know. Um, but that's like 100-year-old case that's remains unsolved. They don't know what happened other than that they think he was hit with a blunt force object. Um, his head was not attached per se to his body when they found him, but I thought that was to bring in the death scenes and the cemeteries right back into our.
Right back into play.
I mean, why not? I mean, why not? Always put that little part into it. So,
Here is a fun tidbit, though. Um, 9 out of the 10 top grossing movies for
mm-hmm.
Thanksgiving weekend are Disney films.
Really,
The only one that is not is Creed 2.
huh? Wow.
But yeah, 9 out of 10 are Disney films.
I mean, I get it. If you're slaving
But,
in the kitchen and you want to get the kids out. I mean, it is a perfect opportunity. You're home for a long weekend.
yeah.
Go out, go see a movie, catch a movie.
especially like Fridays and Saturdays and stuff
Mhm.
after Thanksgiving.
Oh,
You want
yeah.
a break from the house after everybody's left.
Mhm.
Hey, let's go see a movie and just relax for a bit.
Exactly. Why
But yeah,
not?
Disney films are 9 out of the 10 top grossing movies for Thanksgiving weekend,
I wouldn't have even known that.
with Frozen at number one.
Oh, I mean, just gotta let it
Apparently,
go.
everybody wanted to build a snowman. I don't know.
Well, that
Uh,
or they just wanted to let everything go because they'd been trapped in a house on
Let it
Thursday.
go,
Just,
let it
I
go.
gotta let everything go. Let everybody go. Aunt, Aunt Peggy needs to just go back to Wisconsin. Like, let her go, and not come back until next Thanksgiving. You know,
However, I also understand the urge of wanting to, say let it go and just move into the mountains and just hide from everyone. But,
I,
you
I
know,
mean, not wrong, not wrong at all. So, here's one question for you, Raymond. What's your favorite Thanksgiving food to eat?
favorite?
Yeah.
Whatever's on my plate at the time.
Some people are like, "Hey, I got to have that that green bean casserole." Some people are like, "I got to have that." I mean, like, got to have that apple pie, got to have that chocolate pie. Like in my like ours, um Kelly, it's always a chocolate pie or death by chocolate, something for him. Um
Fair enough.
mine is a hot piece of apple pie with some vanilla ice cream. Like,
Um, the only thing I'm not really a fan of is a pecan pie.
me neither. My that's yeah, yeah.
They've always been too sweet for me, which is funny, but it
Mhm.
really is. I can't really get into it.
Yeah.
I know that probably disappoints some people, but teach our own as far as taste buds go.
Mhm.
It agrees with you. It does. If not, oh well.
I mean, that's like me and pumpkin. I can't. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Down with the pumpkin spice.
No. No. When, when the pumpkin spice people come out, I want to hide. Pumpkin, like everywhere. You go to the store, go groceries, pumpkin spice, pumpkin spice, pumpkin spice. I'm like, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm sorry. Absolutely not. I can't. I can't. So that and honestly, favorite Thanksgiving memory. Everybody's got it. Like everybody has to stop and watch the Macy Day Parade. I mean,
I haven't watched it in a long time, honestly.
yeah.
I remember watching it a lot, though.
I mean, when we were kids, I mean, we had some. One that really sticks out is that He-Man float. I still remember that. Like there was, and then Shira. That one, I remember that like there's no tomorrow.
There were some fun ones, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Watching football
Yeah.
is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Watching football, especially in my family and stuff, we would eat and stuff and watch football or go outside and play football or, you know, especially in November. That was the big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Dad, uncles, cousins, brothers, we would all be outside playing football. Hey, it's time to eat. Okay, here we come.
Yep.
The army charge into the house.
Yep. Wipe your feet. Don't get no mud in the house.
Take your shoes off.
Yeah, take your shoes off. Then it was all right. Everybody get a plate. All right, everybody get something. Eat. Okay. Then you shovel it down because you're gonna go back out and you're gonna go play. So.
Yeah, and depending on how much it snowed that year or hadn't snowed, if it was
Mhm.
raining, you know, everything factored in. Sometimes we came in covered in mud and we had to eat outside on the porch. So
Hey, it happens.
don't you walk in this house. Okay. I'll have a seat right here.
So. Yeah.
And Grandma and Grandpa had a wrap around the porch that went from one side of the house around the other side of the house there, and they always covered the porch with Grandpa contrived these things taken put up to block the wind out and stuff, and then to
Mm.
have heaters out on the porch for us.
Fun
That
time.
was in Ohio,
That was in Ohio.
where it was flat and cold,
Where's
and
Flat?
where it was flat and cold,
Yeah.
and we had to walk a mile on flat ground to school each way.
In plastic bags in your shoes, so you wouldn't get your socks wet.
Oh no, we didn't care about that. We were
Oh,
just more worried about the frostbite. Um,
well, yeah. Well, that is, yeah. That's a thing. That is a thing.
that's probably why my feet still act the way they do. I'm pretty sure I've been granted that experience more than once. Um,
Mm.
it's like, what's wrong with your feet? Found a toe.
Is anybody missing a toe? Anyone missing a toe? I have a
Oh
toe.
wait, oh wait, it came out of my own shoe. Never mind. I know who it is now.
Oh man. Oh, that is hilarious.
Ugh. I remember one winter up there. The wind chill coming off the lake was so cold that they actually canceled school for once for just cold weather. And it's not like the cold weather now where it's like, oh, it's 20 degrees out, we're going to cancel school.
Mm.
No, this was like with the wind chill factor, like a negative 60.
Oh my god, yeah.
We would put 5 layers of clothes on our day off, run outside for like 15, 20 minutes, come back in for 2 hours, warm up, get redressed, and run back outside. Like you get stained on the snow, it was frozen solid.
Looking like Ralphie's little brother in Christmas Story.
That movie. But
Uh, yeah,
uh,
I mean up here, like it depended. Like I do remember some Thanksgivings like there being a ton of snow, and then there'd be ones where it'd be rainy and still cold. Um
I remember some also where it was like 80, 90 degrees and I'm
yep.
outside in a pair of shorts.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
the weather's nuts. It is what it is.
Just make the best of it.
Climates change, weather changes per year. It just all depends on, what weather machines the government's using at the time. Um,
I mean, yes, that I will agree that you never know. So whatever they decide to do that day, flip the switch, whatever it is they decide to do, whatever whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
Yep. And then there was always sometimes there were Thanksgivings that I was sick in the hospital because I would have gotten sick like Octoberish, like a little bit before a little bit before Halloween, or a little bit afterwards. And I'd be in there with bronchitis or pneumonia or something.
Yeah, it's usually on my birthday, which is, about a couple weeks later.
Hmm.
Um,
You know.
that I would spend time in the hospital.
Yep.
So,
So
does anybody have any fun memories? Is anybody still watching? I think we lost everybody tonight.
I think so too, because they were probably like, "What? What?" Because I mean, when you take this and you research and you go, okay, like you do, okay, tell me about the real first Thanksgiving, and you're going, well, wait a minute. I thought, they couldn't do it, and then here comes, like in your mind, you have, oh, here comes Squanto. Let me help you, and it's like, and Squanto goes back and says, "Oh, these people good," and it's like, no, that's not what was actually going on at that point in time.
Yeah, they weren't running around in loincloths in November in
Mm-mm.
Massachusetts,
Mm-mm.
right there along the coast.
Exactly. There's, what I mean. There was no way. There was no way. So I mean, I was taken back. I mean, I figured some things, but then when it was like, oh, so they weren't invited. Oh, okay. This I was like, oh, that's new. I mean, I did know, about Abraham, Lincoln declaring it, the holiday, and then having it's FDR saying that it needed to be the like we had discussed before. I always thought it was the third Thursday of the month. I guess. I mean, I always thought it was the third, but when he made it to kind of commercialize the holiday, because then you have what you had Black Friday, where you had everybody go out and go,
I
and
mean, also to be fair, in FDR's defense, he was trying to reboot an economy that had fallen upon itself.
of course.
Of course, the only way they dug their themselves out of the hole was World War II, but that's
Mhm.
neither here nor there.
Exactly. 'Cause you had your Black Friday where, people going out to go get Cabbage Patch dolls. Sorry, mom.
Cabbage Patch Dolls.
Well, I mean that when I think of Black Friday, that's what I think of. I think of, the Cabbage Patch dolls that were a big hit, and then there was oh, what else was it? Something else.
I think of having a panic attack in the middle of the store because the person I was with, I got separated from, and there's all these people everywhere. Um,
And for what? For like 500 people for like 4 TVs.
yeah.
Yeah. And then these crazy people that would line up. Then again, like you know what? Kelly and I we did that for before we had Jacoby. Because I mean, it was just to go out and people watch and see what. Oh my God! You're killing yourselves over Sharpies
Look,
because
look, look! There's a fist fight.
yeah, exactly. Especially a thing before streaming. I mean,
Yeah,
when you can go and you can get DVDs for $5 or $3, and you could get seasons, you know,
yeah.
and you could get seasons for like $8.
Pound
You
puppies,
know,
yes.
so that was Pound Puppies. Yeah, that's another one. I know He-Man figures were big. Trying to
One of
remember.
my favorite little things that I had as a kid was glowworm.
Oh, the glowworm. Yeah.
That was one of my favorites. I had that sucker until it would not light up anymore.
Mm, yeah. Strawberry shortcake, Horse the
Strawberry shortcake.
Barbie, Skipper. You had all that. Ken dolls, He-Man, She-Ra,
Thundercats.
Thundercats, Voltron,
Oh,
Easy Bake Oven. I mean, those were like. That's why I tell everybody. Like I had honestly, we had the best stuff, best cartoons, best TV shows,
oh yeah.
best
But
food.
it is interesting to see how quickly people change, leaving Thanksgiving where everybody's being thankful for
Mhm.
who they have in their lives and what they have to literally killing each other
Yep.
over sales during Black Friday.
Yep. Yep. Because you're thankful, because you're sitting there and you're thankful for what you got, right? What you got, which is family, a roof over your head, food on your plate, you know, food in your cupboards, a place to lay your head, clothes on your back, your family, and then it's like, but I what do
Here comes the Pharaoh side because somebody
I
said there's a sale.
well, there's a sale, and not only that, it's like, what don't I have that I need to have now? You know, and then that was the whole thing of stores being open when when you should be at home. You should be home. Like you shouldn't be like like Walmart closes now and Target and all those places, and to give those people a break.
Yeah,
And then it's now the Black Friday sales are they've actually started now. They were started maybe 2 3 weeks ago, and it's just a continual throughout the whole thing.
entire month.
Hmm. Which is, I think, a lot safer because I mean, how many times in the news you would see like they'd have video of like, especially when the like Xbox came out, people were
People
being
getting stampeded
trampled.
over, yeah, getting trampled to death
Mhm.
and all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
I mean, I've seen craziness just at midnights at Walmart's whenever they had released new Harry Potter books. Like
Hmm.
people literally fighting over copies of this book.
Yeah.
And then there's my tall self coming over, just reaching over and grabbing two, and then stepping away and walking to the
Well,
counter. Like, nope, I'm not getting into the middle of this. Here we go.
I mean, when you're part Bigfoot, I mean, it does. See, it helps. It helps.
Hey, look here's the short section of it. I'm just going to reach over top them, grab what I want. I'm going this way. You all can fight it out. Um,
That's Well, see, that's what I always told Kelly too. I said they're going up there high. I go, dude, you're short enough. So I said, they're going the high section. Take the short section. Just go right in between and go.
yep. Dip in between, pull one out in the middle, watch them all scatter. That
Yep,
way people jump for them.
exactly. So, but yeah, all I ask is everyone to be, you know, take the time in this hustle bustle of craziness that's about to begin, and just be thankful. Thankful for everything
And be safe.
and safe. That's like be thankful and safe.
Because a lot of people are traveling right now. So, be
Hmm.
safe on the roads.
Yep.
I don't even like to travel right now because
Oh.
there are people on the roads. Um,
Yeah. I mean, that was, what, maybe that's why I probably should, but I didn't want to think about that part of things and be like, okay, well, how many accidents happen in Thanksgiving? Like, how many numbers of, accidents, and then how many actual deaths happen in those travel times? Which that, whenever that number comes up, that just boggles my mind. I'm just like, oh,
but what's funny is Thanksgiving is actually ranked fifth as far as the deadliest holidays to drive.
really?
Yes. Try to guess what number one is. And we'll kind of end it with this one because it's not one you would suspect.
Well, everybody's going to say Christmas and New Year's, but I don't think it's that.
Nope, actually, New
What?
Year's is fourth, and Christmas isn't even in the top five.
Really? Christmas isn't? Wow.
No,
July 4th weekend?
nope, that's number three.
Oh,
The number one deadliest holiday to drive is Memorial Day,
I would have never. Wow.
and the second deadliest one is Labor Day.
That's wow. I wouldn't have thought I wouldn't have thought that. I would have thought Christmas, July 4th, because that's people because you're on that vacation, and you're strapped to that desk, and you're only allowed a week vacation. It's like I gotta leave here at this time to get to this place at this time. So you'd think that, but wow. Memorial Day and Labor. I would
Memorial Day and Labor Day.
I would have never thought. Would have never thought.
So, with that fun little tidbit, we will leave you with that and let you simmer a bit, let
Hmm.
marinate. Um, Make sure you baste it a bit. That way it stays nice and juicy. Um, uh,
Remember, if you burn the sweet potatoes, just put marshmallows on top of it.
that's it. That's it.
Marshmallows make everything good. I don't know about the turkey, but definitely your sweet potatoes. Put your marshmallows on it. So,
But everybody have a safe holiday. Everybody have a fun holiday. Enjoy your time with your friends, family, whoever you're spending it with,
exactly.
because it's all family in the end. Because
Hmm.
thanks to Adam and Eve, we're all related. No,
Well,
total joke. Total joke. I
I
apologize.
mean,
Um,
not wrong, but I mean, I guess
it depends on which book you believe. But
exactly.
you all have a safe holiday, have fun, and next week we'll continue with more interesting things
Hmm.
to do with holidays because why not? Tis the season to be, weird.
Exactly.
And as always, thank you for watching.
Yes.
Death scenes in cemeteries. Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle